started here momentarily. Hey, Claire, is Nancy coming? No? Or she let you know? Thank you. No worries. All right, good evening. I would like to call to order the meeting for Middletown Planning Commission for Wednesday, August 12th, 2026. Ms. Spinnaker, if you would start by please calling the roll.
Will Parsons,
Here?
AJ Mentel,
Present.
Roger Daniel, Nancy Griffith, David Cash,
Here.
Tara Ramsey,
Here.
Gabriel Shainline.
Here.
All right, next, if you would please join me, rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. First up on our agenda is we have the approval of meeting minutes from the special meeting in April, the regular meeting then in May, June, and the last meeting in July. Are we good to go ahead and approve all those at once?
No, I was actually about to request that we separate those out because I was not present for the July meeting. So I would want to abstain.
Okay.
Has everybody had the chance to review all of those minutes though? Okay. So I guess I will make a motion. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, if you guys have reviewed the minute, whether you were here, if you had a chance to review them and make sure that you're good with them, then you're able to approve them. Yeah.
Thank you.
If you want to separate out the meeting that you were not present for and vote on that separately, then that's fine.
However you guys want to do it is fine. I was just about to offer to move to approve the April ones, but if we want to group April, May, and June together.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, then I'll.
Before we do that, do we have any needed changes or additions? No? Okay.
Okay, well, I'll make the motion for April, May, and June meeting minutes to be approved.
Do we have a second? I'll second.
Mr. Parsons,
Yes.
Mr. Mentel,
Yes.
Mr. Daniel, Mr. Cash,
Yes.
Ms. Ramsey, Mr. Shainline.
Yes.
All right, so then we just have the July 8th meeting minutes. Any changes or additions, omissions needed there? No? All good? Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move that the July 8th, 2026 minutes be approved as presented.
Is there a second?
I second.
Ooh, gotta be quicker than
I second. Sorry.
Mr. Parsons,
that. Yes.
Mr. Mentel,
Abstain.
Mr. Daniel,
Yes.
Mr. Cash,
Yes.
Ms. Ramsey,
Yes.
Mr. Shainline.
Yes.
Okay, that brings us to the first item of business here. We have a public hearing on a final development plan, a request by applicant Warren County and Warren County Port Authority, the City of Middletown, and Perkins and Will for final development plan approval for the Warren County Event Center at Renaissance Point.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this commission will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. All right, so getting into property background, the application is for a proposed development within the previously approved preliminary development plan, Renaissance Point. The final development plan proposes to be located in the center of the planned development district in the current Lot 3A of the Renaissance Point plat that was approved by Planning Commission in May of 2025 and by City Council also in May of 2025. The preliminary development plan's project narrative is identified as the Renaissance Point development to be anchored by an unmatched event center that will bring thousands of visitors to Middletown, Warren County, and the region annually. Specifically, the event center will feature 3 separate playing and performance areas under one roof, with the largest venue in the structure equipped with 3,000 fixed seats. The event center will have a variety of uses, including ice events, hockey, arena football, soccer, lacrosse, concerts, family shows, graduations, community events, trade shows, and exhibitions. There is an important disclaimer that was included in that project narrative with that preliminary development plan, that the preliminary development plan was still a work in process, and each final development plan submitted for each of the structures in that development will vary from that preliminary plan. That zone change was effective in 2023, going from BCH to that planned development district. Getting into staff analysis, I didn't include the purpose statement of a planned development district. You guys are all familiar with that at this point in time. So the final development plan does include an approximate 160,000 square foot multi-use event center with 3 sheets of ice for hockey use, indoor concert and events, with accessory uses including but not limited to grab-and-go refreshments, kitchen space, and a restaurant. Getting into the site development standards, the final development plan shows that the building will be set back a minimum of 33 feet from Middle Drive, 29 feet from Event Promenade, 372 feet from the public portion of Atrium Boulevard, and 63 feet from the public access and parking easement to be established in Renaissance Point. So that's the private section to the south, known as Atrium Boulevard Private. The maximum height of the structure, including the architectural features, will be approximately 59 feet and 11 inches. Looking at the facades, the structure will have facades comprised of architectural metal and glass. As the structure is proposed for Lot 3A, there are streets that surround all facades of the structure. Therefore, there are no side or rear yards to locate service doors and off-street loading areas. Additionally, while there is not any proposed base, body, or cap delineations in the facades, there are a variety of architectural elements that meet the intent of the facade mass and design regulations, including a variation of building height, incorporation of glass and facade breaks through extrusion and inclusions of the structure. Staff finds the facade variation regulations to apply to multi-tenant structures. The proposed structure will not feature a variety of storefronts and tenants, rather be one large single-tenant structure. Next, looking at our lighting regulations, the applicant must provide a lighting plan that identifies the location, height, and type of luminaries to show how the proposed lighting intends to comply with the regulations. The applicant did submit a site lighting plan. All lighting standards are satisfied with the proposed lighting within the subject area. Next, looking at our landscaping requirements, all development within a planned development district shall be subject to the standards of the landscaping and buffering chapter, unless otherwise modified through the planned development review and approval process. When a development is subject to the provisions of the chapter, a landscaping plan shall be submitted. The applicant has submitted a landscaping plan identifying landscaping that will be installed surrounding the structure within the vehicular use area and the perimeter of the parking lot, including the number of plants, type of plants, name of plants, and size of plants. Next, looking at the landscaping chapter, we do require off-street loading areas to be screened. The applicant proposes to screen the off-street loading area on the northeast side of the structure with a retaining wall with a minimum 8-foot tall fence constructed on top of the retaining wall. A security gate will be added to the entrance located on the southern border of the off-street loading area. Next, looking at parking. As explained in the master plan narrative, the concept for parking is to provide shared parking for all the uses on the site, many of which have peak parking demand at different times of the day. The master plan accounts for 1,900 parking spaces within the 55-acre development. Located in the project area will be a total of 356 parking spaces, with the dimensions of each parking space and drive aisle meeting the requirements set forth in Chapter 1218 of the Middletown Development Code. Here's a close-up of the parking. Lastly, for staff analysis, the applicant has provided a signage plan indicating there will be a total of 12 wall signs on the various facades of the building and 2 directional signs. Signage material and text has not been provided. However, concepts submitted indicate the square footage of each sign type as well as the location on the site plan, and that's really all that zoning would regulate in terms of signage. As for other department comments, the Community and Economic Development Department has stated the Renaissance Point Arena is not only a featured flagship amenity of the Renaissance Point development, but it is also a catalyst for a renewed development initiative that has been undertaken by the City of Middletown and Warren County for several years as an opportunity for our city to differentiate our east end and interchange from other communities along the I-75 corridor by providing a regionally, if not nationally recognized facility to host minor league hockey tournaments and mid-scale concerts, amongst other sports, recreation, and entertainment opportunities for our residents and the community. We recommend Planning Commission approve this final development plan. Here is the signage plan. I know it's a bit hard to see. My little highlighter's not working. Anywho, so the red items on the site plan show where signage is proposed, including one sign that is currently on the very eastern edge of the parcel. The next case before you will essentially separate out that parcel from current lot 3A. But then you can also see the close-up of the wall signs, and then additionally, you can see the large electronic wall sign that is proposed above one of the entrances on the western side. And my spotlight's not working, but if you look at the item to the bottom row of facades, it's going to be in the middle above main entry. Here is your review criteria for final development plan approval. As for staff recommendation, based on the information provided by the applicant's submission, staff does recommend approval of the application, and that will conclude my staff report.
Thank you. Do we have any questions that can be addressed to staff at this time? No. Okay, in which case I would like to move to open the public hearing. If you are wishing to speak in favor of this application, please come forward, identify yourself, and be sworn in.
You solemnly swear or affirm, excuse me, that the testimony you're about to give before this commission will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the Planning Commission and the public. Jacob Schulte, Acting Director for the city's Community and Economic Development Department. The submission you see here tonight is the culmination of several years in the making. The collaborative work between the City of Middletown, the Warren County Port Authority, and Woodard Development to kind of bring to a close would be the southeast quadrant of the Renaissance Point development. To take a little bit of a step back, over the last several years, the city, through this partnership, has implemented the infrastructure package for this 52-acre site. Woodard Development has instituted a lot of the retail, entertainment amenities, as well as the multifamily development along Union Road. And Warren County Port Authority, through the consultants of CCP, Community Center Partners of Ohio, as well as some other stakeholders and subcontractors, have worked to really culminate the arena portion of this project. In total, the 3 sheets of ice with the main feature facility of about 3,000 to 3,500 fixed seats is really meant to kind of be the catalyst or the anchor there for the development as a whole. And something that, over the last couple of years, we've really been just trying to put our best foot forward, and as a city, as well as Warren County being that sort of gateway into the East End, just trying to differentiate ourselves from the other communities along I-75. So Perkins and Will was a subcontractor of Warren County Port Authority, as well as MSP, kind of helped get a lot of the package here together for the final development plan. I can speak to the best of my ability on a lot of the nuances and stuff on here, but generally here to answer any questions that Planning Commission may have.
Do you have any questions? No, I don't think I do.
Thank you, Mr. Schulte.
Thank you.
Thank you. If there is anyone else wishing to speak in favor, please come forward, be sworn in, and identify yourself. Okay, having no response, I'll now open the floor. If there is anyone wishing to speak in opposition, please come forward, be sworn in, and identify yourself. Having no response, I will close the public hearing and we will move to deliberation. Our review criteria here for us. I mean, even just looking through the staff analysis, they really checked off all the boxes of pretty much everything that is required of them was satisfied and touched on, which is great. I know, I for one, as a resident, I mean, this is a pretty big undertaking. Excited to see it continue to move forward as well. And I think that the other staff comments from economic development are spot on. Any other thoughts or comments?
No, I would echo that. We've gotten to this point, and it appears that staff and the engineering and everything has been everything has been complied with at this point, it looks like to me, and I think we trust staff to ensure that there is total compliance with all of the requirements. So
Thank you.
I would move that the final development plan be approved for the Warren County Event Center at Renaissance Point.
Shall we cite criteria?
Well,
At this point?
well, it really appears that,
If I may, I
Go ahead.
kind of circled some just to have some.
please supplement, thank you.
To supplement Mr. Cash's motion, I advocate for criteria B, E, H, and I as the primary ones. I was like, without a doubt, these were met. So, does it sound acceptable to you?
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. And then I would second his motion, including B, E, H, and I.
Mr. Parsons?
Yes.
Mr. Mentel?
Yes.
Mr. Daniel?
Yes.
Mr. Cash?
Yes.
Ms. Ramsey?
Yes.
Mr. Shainline?
Yes.
Okay, our next item is another public hearing with for a major amendment to a plan development. This is a request by J.A. Development on behalf of property owner Ravello Properties, LLC, to amend the approved preliminary development plan known as Havenwood.
I'm gonna back you up just one more case to do the Renaissance Point Phase 3 plat.
Oh,
You
I'm
skipped
so
one.
sorry, I skipped ahead. My apologies.
That's okay.
Just,
All right, getting into property background, the proposed final plat of Renaissance Point is the replat of Renaissance Point Phase 2, which was approved by Planning Commission in 2025, as well as City Council. That first plat, the original one, was approved by Planning Commission in October of 2023 and City Council in November of 2023, which had created a total of 6 lots and established Event Promenade, Middle Drive, and Atrium Boulevard roadways, equating to 42 acres of lots and for just about 5 acres of right-of-way. That second plat, approved and recorded in 2025, Phase 2, established a total of 10 lots, designated open space known as Lot 10, and dedicated right-of-way for Union Road, State Route 122, and Atrium Boulevard. This is zoned Plan Development District. Getting into staff analysis, the proposed replat of Renaissance Point submitted by Bayer Becker includes the division of 3A, so the lot we were just looking at for the previous case, which is a total of 12.7684 acres, which was established in Phase 2 plat, to create lots to be known as lots 11 and 12, and will equate to, lot 12 will equate to a total of 2.6833 acres. The plat does incorporate previously recorded easements, as well as establishing a 19-foot public utility easement, a public parking and access easement over the private portion of Atrium Boulevard, and a 20-foot storm drainage easement and a 20-foot water main easement. The plat does appear to be complete and has been deemed acceptable by the city's Public Works Director. Following your approval of this plat, it will go to City Council for endorsement prior to recording. There are no other departments at this time, no other department comments at this time. Phase 3 replat is on the screen, so you can see where the arena portion will be, as well as the feature user to the right. There is your review criteria for major subdivisions, and that will conclude my staff report.
Thank you. And thank you for getting us back on the right one. My apologies for skipping ahead there. Do we have any questions that can be addressed to staff at this time? No? Very good. In which case, I will open the public hearing. If there is anyone wishing to speak in favor of this case, please come forward, be sworn in, and identify yourself. Having no response, I will now move forward. If there is anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this case, please come forward, be sworn in, and identify yourself. Having no response, I will close the public hearing at this time, and we will move to deliberation.
Seems pretty straightforward.
Yep, once again, this feels very straightforward. I have no other comments to add in favor of approval. Do we have any specific review criteria that we would wish to cite in our approval?
I think criteria 3, it goes with, here, I highlighted it. The plat appears to be complete and has been deemed acceptable by the City Public Works Director. No objections that cannot be resolved by the applicable review agencies have no objections. Sounds good to me. So I'll make the motion to approve citing criteria 3.
Very good. I'll second.
Mr. Parsons?
Yes.
Mr. Mentel?
Yes.
Mr. Daniel?
Yes.
Mr. Cash?
Yes.
Ms. Ramsey?
Yes.
Mr. Shainline?
Yes.
All right. For our next case, now we are looking at a major amendment to a plan development, a request by JA Development on behalf of property owner Ravello Properties LLC. Can you please take us through the case?
Yes. All right, getting into property background, the subject parcel that you guys are considering is just under 2 acres, according to the Warren County Auditor's website. The subject parcel is within the Havenwood Plan Development District. The Plan Development District for the subject parcel was established in 2023, with the property currently being zoned with that passage of O-2023-83. The final development plan was approved by Planning Commission on April 10th of 2024 for the majority of that plan development district. The parcel we're talking about right now was just designated as future commercial uses. However, the plan development district has been amended through the passage of O-2026-07 on March 3rd, 2026. Their major amendment, which required both Planning Commission and City Council approval, did remove commercial uses from the Plan Development District and added 13 single-family attached 2-story units with 3 additional residential structures on that 2-acre parcel, expansion of walking paths, and a new private street with access off of Town Boulevard and a dog park. The conditions of approval, if you guys remember, reviewing that major amendment, were carried through with City Council's approval as well, requiring that the applicant construct the private road to include private street frontage for units 1 through 4, The applicant be in full compliance with Chapter 1216, which is our landscaping chapter. Applicant comply with fire department regulations as it relates to Ohio Fire Code. And applicant construct walking paths and sidewalks with dustless materials such as concrete or asphalt. So in that current site development standards that were approved with O-2026-07, there is a lot width of 22 feet for each parcel of those 13 units, a lot depth of 88 feet measured from private roadway, front yard setback of 15 feet measured from edge of parking spots, side yard setback of 6 feet between buildings, and rear yard setback of 24 feet, with the unit length being 30 feet. So the applicant does propose to increase the unit length to 34 feet and 8 inches, as well as decrease that rear yard minimum setback to 15 feet for the 13 units on the subject parcel. Additionally, the rear yard facade of the dwelling units will feature a door accessible from the outside of the unit to a storage closet. Staff has determined that this is a major change that would require planning commission approval, but not city council, based on the criteria on the screen. So in comparison, the currently approved standards for the 13 units, the applicant proposes a 4-foot, 8-inch increase for unit length and a 9-foot decrease in minimum rear yard setback. The applicant has also requested that the street tree minimum in chapters 1216 of the Middletown Development Code be decreased or reduced. As Planning Commission and City Council has recently approved a major amendment with a condition requiring the applicant to be in full compliance with Chapter 1216 of the Middletown Development Code, this request should be denied as it is in direct conflict with the policy that has been established directly relating to the proposed units. The applicant does also request a 12-month time limit extension. However, based on the text on the screen, a preliminary development plan should never be good or valid for more than 2 years. We're already in a pretty gray area with a final development plan was submitted for the majority of units to the north, but never one for the south. So as we're in a phased approach, staff does not find this request to be relevant. So staff would not be in support of an additional time limit extension for these 13 units, as a final development plan still needs to be submitted prior to permits being pulled. So looking at the comprehensive plan, the land use map does identify this property is within the regional mixed use area, and you guys are pretty familiar with that, those types of uses that are desired to be seen in that regional land use area. There have been no comments received to date through the public noticing process, and there are no additional department comments at this time. As for staff recommendation, based on the information provided by the applicant's submission, staff recommends approval of the increased unit length, thus decreasing the rear yard setback minimum. However, staff does not recommend approval of a decrease in landscaping requirements, as City Council included such condition as part of their approval in 2026, or the time limit extension. And that will conclude my staff report.
Thank you. Do we have any questions that can be directed to staff at this time?
Just to clarify, so there are 4 component parts to this, increase the unit length, reduce setbacks, reduce the street tree minimum, and a time extension.
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that I had 4 down.
I would say the time limit extension is not necessarily relevant to how you would vote on, because it's not a major amendment to the development plan.
But there are 4 requests in this package,
Yes.
is what I was asking.
That being said, if I'm understanding correctly, the approved increase in the length automatically decreases, so you couldn't approve one and not the other, really, right?
Correct.
Okay, just making sure. Thank you. Do we have anything else that could use some more clarification?
I do. What is the street tree requirement in 1216, and how does the plan as submitted currently deviate from that street tree requirement?
So what you will see on the screen is what the applicant wishes to provide. However, if you look at Chapter 1216, site landscaping for single, 2, 3, and 4 family dwellings, we require a minimum of 3 trees to be provided in the front yard. 2 of which can be placed between, essentially in that right-of-way area, between the sidewalk and the actual road. As part of City Council's approval, as well as yours, you attach that condition, they be in full compliance with Chapter 1216. So that is how I'm interpreting that request. They would like to reduce the amount of trees required for the development.
I still don't,
Perhaps this would be a better question for the applicant if they're here.
okay. Well, I didn't know what the requirement, you told me what the requirement is, and we'll hear what the applicant
Yep.
has to say. Thank you.
Anything else? No? Very good. In which case, we will move forward with the public hearing. If there is anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application, please come forward, be sworn in, and identify yourself.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this commission will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. And if you'll identify yourself, sir.
Adam Christo, 7594 Tyler's Place Boulevard, Westchester, Ohio. If you want me to start on some of the issues, or you want to ping me first?
You can go ahead and share if you had anything kind of prepared, and then I think we can.
Sure. Overall, on these units, we wanted to make them deeper. When we originally laid them out, there was actually a little bit of error in the footprint type that we caught. So adding another 4 feet would make these units definitely more spacious, add more square footage than was originally there. And then when we went back and looked at the design, at these being a slab product, and the privacy issue off the back porch, we came up with the idea to put these storage closets that would act not only as a privacy shield when you're sitting on your back patio, a sound shield, it would also give unit owners a place to put their outside hoses, play toys. So, you know, we have very restrictive HOAs. We don't want stuff laying out in the yard. And, you know, so we're giving them a place to place those items. So we thought between all those items, that only would enhance the product, make it more sellable, and obviously make it more, you know, less management issues on that front. As far as moving on to the street trees, I mean, we're all for trees. This rule was created, I don't think really with the thought in mind of a 22-foot wide lot. You know, it's the same rule of this many trees, whether you're a 100-foot or 22-foot lot. So again, I'm not against trees, but when you take 22 feet and you put a 4-foot sidewalk in the middle, and you put two trees, you end up having two trees that are going to grow into each other. And it, you know, the practicality does not make much sense at all. If you look at Havenwood, we did, and this is an extension of Havenwood, we did 1 tree per unit, which made sense. As an offset, I would be happy to take those additional trees and put them elsewhere on the development. I'm not against having more trees, but I think here it would be almost a waste of resources to try to stuff that many trees with a sidewalk in a 22-foot wide lot. That's why we're looking for some relief on that. Again, we're fine putting those trees elsewhere to enhance the development. We just think this would be more of an encumbrance than an enhancement to put that many trees in front of a 22-foot lot with a sidewalk. And then on the 12-month extension, it's always helpful when we're laying out multi-scale projects like this. You know, we have Havenwood we're putting in right now. That's active, selling, first residents moving in. We have Lincoln Village that we're installing. We have Cove at Havenwood, and then we have across the street Maple Ridge. So we have, you know, very large investments in Middletown. That's going to take quite a bit of absorption, and we would like, you know, as much flexibility to be able to put those developments in within a course of a reasonable time, that, you know, we won't be hamstrung up against, you know, reapprovals once we do all the front legwork on these. We just want to make sure we have enough time to have sales catch up to the development installation. So, any questions for me on anything?
On the topic of trees, sir, have you considered carefully choosing species that are not going to have canopy competition, like understory versus main canopy trees, dogwoods, redbuds, pawpaws for the understory? They don't grow and compete with the overstory in much the same way. And
Yeah,
they can be
I would-
planted at the same time.
I believe the city has a certain selection of trees we can choose from. Obviously, we'd want to choose the ones that best fit, and it sounds like you know a lot, so maybe you might want to give me some guidance. A lot more than I know,
Yeah.
so.
May or may not be working on trying to expand that list outside of the capacity of my position here, but yeah, I would just suggest looking at the Ohio DNR resources and looking at canopy versus understory trees, and they are quite compatible. Literally, you can squeeze a lot of trees into small space.
Gotcha. Okay, appreciate that. What's the duration of the extension? It's additional 12 months. I'll take anything I can get, man. I mean, the more time we have, I mean, the thought on all this, if you like the project, I mean, you know, does 12 months make any difference? It just hamstrings us when we're planning and investing to be like, oh my gosh, you know, we got to go back again. I mean, this is residential. It just you know, makes things, it makes it much harder for us to plan. Now, we're not asking about multiple years, but when you're doing multi-phases, if this is just one development, it'd be different, but we've got, you know, 64 units here, 13, and then we've got over, you know, gosh, 170 across the street, and then we got another 60 in Lincoln. So, you know, we're doing a lot of residential construction in Middletown, and we're hoping sales are going to be moving at a good pace. But you know, the more time we can have to let absorption and sales match up to development, the better off we can plan and be more successful. So,
Sir, for purposes of your request is for specificity in any type of a motion, what are you asking as far as reduction in tree requirement that the city has in Chapter 1216? Specifically, are you asking that you be allowed to plant simply one tree per?
I mean,
I
ideally,
think we need to know, for purposes of a motion down the road here, specifically what you're requesting be waived with regard to that requirement.
so I think consistency with Havenwood is one tree per unit.
Okay.
So that's what we already have. This is an extension. It would, you know, flow through nicely. As an offset, though, we'd be happy to take those additional trees and add them to more screening or add them somewhere else on the development as an offset, so we wouldn't be necessarily getting out of that requirement. We would just be placing the trees elsewhere.
I will comment, I see too many people who have planted trees way too close together, and it just becomes unattractive and counterproductive, I think.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, and 22 feet
agree.
sidewalk, it would be, yeah. And you won't even be able to
Plus
see
the
the front of the
sidewalk
house
that's in
eventually. I
front.
mean, he's gonna be like, it's gonna be a wall.
Yeah, it's just gonna be nothing.
Yeah.
That's all I have, thanks.
Any other questions at this time?
Did we add this new squishy thing recently? Because this is really nice.
You have to ask her.
Oh, okay. Makes me want to stand here longer and talk. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application, please come forward, be sworn in, and identify yourself. Having no response, we will move along. If there is anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application, please come forward, be sworn in, and identify yourself. Okay, having no response, we will now move to deliberation. I will say for me to start, as Mr. Mintel kind of mentioned at the beginning of this case, we can kind of divide it into 4 parts. Part 1 and 2 are connected there with the increase of the unit length, which would also then decrease the rear yard setback if it was to be approved. The staff recommendation of approving the increased unit length and the rear yard setback, I would personally be in favor of that part. I'd like to, if it's okay with the board, let's kind of take this one by one to see where we're all at, because then we can put that together within our whatever we end up voting on. So let's start with that. Do we have any thoughts, concerns? How are we feeling with the increased unit length and the decreased rear yard setback?
I'm all for more living space.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it doesn't sound like a whole lot, 4.8 feet, but that's across the width of the unit. That's a significant increase. I'm all for it. And the rear setback compromise seems to be reasonable.
Yeah, I would agree with Mr. Cash.
Continuing then, the next portion has to do with the landscaping requirements. This is our trees.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Mintel, you are the resident tree, dare I say, expert of the board. If you
well,
want to weigh in first, maybe.
Let's not use the term expert. We'll just say knowledgeable. I mean, I still stand by my comments that planted wisely, canopy and sub-canopy trees can not only coexist together, but quite often do very attractively. I recommend anybody who hasn't go to Bowles Run Arboretum here in town, and you will see right on the walk down just what I'm talking about between canopy trees and sub-canopy trees. Really hard to describe it with no visual. But I think it's not only doable, but desirable.
Any other thoughts?
I can understand Mr. Christo's position, however. In planting trees in front of a residence, I understand AJ's decorative trees and smaller ornamental types of trees. If I'm the builder, I'm not sure I want to expend the money and put the risky, put those type of risky plants into a property, and would probably want to plant a more hardy canopy in a front yard. And 22 feet again, if you put any kind of tree that's going to grow, I mean, any kind of course, you can't put a pear in anymore, but any kind of tree that's going to grow, they are going to grow into each other. It's just going to happen because plant trees grow. I'd much rather see a tree in the front yard that doesn't obscure the entire front of my residence. Considering the logistics of the structure and the lot, I would agree to a reduction to one tree per lot, but that's my opinion. Excuse me.
I do just want to get, because this was not really covered previous, if I may direct a question to staff. It was mentioned during the public hearing of the requirements being the same regardless of lot size. Can this be confirmed? Is this a set number, or is there a specification as far as like a ratio of so many feet there is supposed to be more?
It is
trees
set
or-
number.
It's just a set number? Okay. Just wanted to get clarification on that. Thank you.
May we entertain for the moment a de facto reduction in that the developer carries through with a promise to add those trees into either the open space or along the, what is that, Town Boulevard? Yeah. We just need to ensure that, that the minimum amount of trees dictated by the amount of units are planted throughout the parcel.
For what it's worth, I agree with that. I would like to see those trees like maybe facing Town Boulevard. I think that's a good idea, a good compromise.
And you guys can check that as staff would during the final development plan submittal stage. So we're still in the preliminary development plan stage as it relates to the 13 units.
I think I generally would be in favor of that as well. I don't want to see any of the trees taken away. Ideally, I tend to like to stick by what our standards are because they're there for a reason. That being said, I do also wish to be, not be completely rigid and to realize that in each situation there are nuances and things to consider. You know, these are fairly smaller lots out front. There is a lot of green space in the middle of this this plat. If they get added in there, I would still that would still make me happy. I would, in an ideal world, I would vote to keep it the exact same. But as we all know, we do not live in an ideal world, so. I agree with you. I don't want to lose any trees. Let's continue on now to the final request having to do with the time limit extension. First and foremost, this is one that I would like to stick with our rules and requirements. That being said, I do also, I understand based off of the applicant, they shared their reasoning of why the request was made, how it could be helpful. Overall, we do also, you know, at this point, we've been through this process. We do want to see this go in, so we're not out here trying to undermine a development. I liked your kind of question of if that is the maximum amount, what kind of extension you're looking for. When we approved this a few months back, it looked like we did a 1-year time limit extension on December 10th.
So the applicant
It
can
says-
request up to 2 one-year time limit extensions. I don't know if, in terms of interpreting the code, if, okay, we have one 12-month extension approved, if the 1 6-month time limit extension would essentially nullify an additional extension, or if you can add an additional 1 6-month extension
Okay.
at this time. But,
That's very fair.
but again, the applicant still has to come back for a final development plan stage prior to any plating, prior to pulling any permits. So we're still a ways away, and I wouldn't want to see time wasted now when there's still unknowns ahead.
So as it is written down, they can request 2 one-year extensions, and 1 has already been requested.
Yes, and
Okay.
technically, a preliminary development plan is only good for up to a maximum of 2 years if you do have that 1-year time limit extension. There was never any plans submitted for this 2-acre parcel when the final development plan was submitted. So it kind of defaults to a stage approach, but it was never really clarified in the preliminary development plan for the initial development. So we're in a really big gray area of time limit processes for this
Sure.
2-acre parcel specifically.
Sure. My, I would say I personally am a little bit torn as far as wanting to stay within the letter of the law, and especially as it's written, we have these requirements. Because it is sort of a different situation, my first inclination was to make a proposal that we essentially take the amount of time from when the previous was approved to now, and then add those months on again afterwards. That being said, if there's not really precedent or an actual framework for something like that, I would not want to throw a wrench into the system of then getting into, like you kind of said, if we do 6 months here, does that mean we have 6 months later to give, or that just rounds up to a year? I don't know. That makes me a little nervous there. Do we have any other thoughts on this? I've been talking a lot.
I agree with staff, so I don't have anything.
What was that? I'm sorry.
I agree without it, especially since we're not even in that stage. We have time. I don't want to use it now.
Sure.
So just-
To be clear, as you said, there will still be a final stage approval of this. If this is not approved at this time to give a time limit extension, that could still be applied for at the time of the final one and
Yes.
approved then?
Yes, I would feel much more comfortable in that stage.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that we're on the same page on that. Okay. Is there anything else on that portion? Okay. I believe that is all the portions that we have thus far. It sounded like we were all in favor of the increased unit length and the decrease of the rear yard setback minimum. Is that correct? In which case, to start, I'd like to just talk this through, and then we'll get an actual thing put forward. That motion put forward. Does that work for everyone? Okay. Next part is the landscaping requirements. Unless I am mistaken, it is sounding like the board is in favor of allowing the minimum to not be enforced. So we will be looking at 1 per lot. However, those trees that were originally meant to be at each house would then be placed somewhere else within the property.
So as far as wording goes, I'm thinking something along the lines of, so what, this is 2 trees for 13 units? Is that?
3.
So that's 26
sorry.
total trees?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. So I'm thinking it is in terms of approving the landscaping requirements, but as a condition of approval that the remainder of the trees, so 13 other trees, must be planted along Town Boulevard or within the open space.
It'd be 26.
26.
26? Oh, so it's a total of 39?
Correct.
Oh, I see. Okay, so the remainder of the 26 trees. Okay, thank you.
Okay. And the final portion, we would not be in favor, so we would decline to give the time limit extension at this time. Just for clarification, I would be in favor later on if it's still requested and desired at the final approval. We could look to approve it then. Okay. Not making, nothing set in stone, but, okay. In which case, I would make a motion for approval. Oh,
Hold on, we've got deliberations going on right now, so I'm afraid you can't speak out of turn unless the chair wants to reopen to allow for comment at the lectern here.
thank you, Council. I'm not against it. I'll reopen the public hearing to, for comment here.
As far as the requirement of planting the trees elsewhere, we would like some flexibility because maybe with apartments in the back, maybe we plant some in the backyards. You know, we might want to have some flexibility where we can, I don't want to be just confined to the frontage and common space. If we can just plant them elsewhere in the development, backyards, just more flexibility. That's all I would ask.
Understood. Thank you. Yeah. All right, we will now, once again, close the public hearing and continue with deliberation.
So within the 2 acres?
I'm sorry?
Plant the additional trees within the 2 acres? Is that what he's recommending?
So, making a motion, I would make a motion to approve, provided, so that the increased unit length is approved, the decreased rear yard setback is approved, the decrease in landscaping requirements would be approved with the condition that the remaining 26 trees are to be placed within the grounds of the property. Anything to add to that?
No.
Okay,
Property or planned development district?
sorry, yes. My apologies for the improper wording. Thank you.
No, I just need clarification from you where.
No,
you
for
would like to
sure,
see
for
them.
sure, thank you. And,
Which one?
oh, yes, the whole,
Development district.
yes.
Addition.
Within
whole
the
district.
plans, yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry, I thought you were saying that was, you were correcting me.
No, I just need to know which one in terms of outcome letter.
Because if he
Yes.
had chosen the term property, then theoretically it
It's
could
the
be
2 acre
planted
parcel,
among
yeah.
the northern part of the development as well.
Okay. We're
So-
all set here. And then lastly, we would not be approving the time limit extension.
I'll second that with the clarification that it is within the proposed or the planned development parcel.
Thank you all for going on that journey with me.
Mr. Parsons?
Yes.
Mr. Mentel?
Yes.
Mr. Daniel? Yes. Mr. Cash?
Yes.
Ms. Ramsey?
Yes.
Mr. Shainline?
Yes.
All right. The next case is for a conditional use. A permit has been submitted by applicant R House Ministries on behalf of property owner Todd Fisher to utilize 1326 Central Ave as a fraternal, charitable, and service-oriented club. Ms. Vinegar, if you can please take us through the case.
Absolutely. So getting into site description and surrounding conditions, this parcel is a total of 0.1295 acres with a street frontage of approximately 165 feet along Central Avenue, as well as, I believe, the alley to the west. The topography is flat. The existing use is a vacant commercial structure or storefront. And this is zoned UCC and in the city's Central Avenue Historic District. The zoning surrounding this parcel is also UCC with a variety of uses, including vacant parcels and existing commercial businesses with parking lots behind this subject parcel. Getting into property history and description, this property contains a 6,525 square foot primary structure that was built in 1910 according to the county auditor's website. Last sold on July 11th of 2016. The purpose of the UCC sub-district is to encourage, support, and enhance downtown Middletown as a mixed-use, high-intensity urban district and a center of retail service, entertainment, office, government, and urban residents. The UCC sub-district encourages pedestrian-oriented retail or eating, drinking, and entertainment establishments on the ground floor and residential on the upper floor of buildings, but also allows service, office, institutional, and recreational uses. Getting into staff analysis, the applicant proposes to use the property or the first floor storefront for a faith-based nonprofit office, providing supportive services, recovery support, resource navigation, and case management for women. This space will operate as a daytime office space 2 times weekly and will not provide shelter services or medical treatment. Fraternal, charitable, and service-oriented club use type is defined in 1230 of the Middletown Development Code, as a building or portion thereof or premises owned or operated by a corporation, association, or group of persons for a social, educational, religious, or recreational purpose, but primarily for profit or to render a service which is customarily carried on as a business. Oh, not primarily for profit, sorry for that. Getting into Chapter 120408, the principally permitted uses. Conditional uses may be subject to use-specific standard identified in the last column of Table 1204-3. The use-specific standard for fraternal, charitable, and service-oriented club use type is as follows. Accessory uses necessary to the operation of such use, such as clubhouses, restaurants, bars, swimming pools, and similar activities, shall be permitted if they comply with the applicable standards. However, such uses where the conduct of business is the principal activity shall be prohibited. Looking at the city's comprehensive plan land use map, the property in question is located in the downtown land use category, which is defined as the downtown special interest area, represented by the downtown master plan. So land use recommendations do defer to that downtown strategic plan as well as the urban core development opportunity area. Looking at our downtown strategic plan, in 2017, the city did adopt this plan, establishing the vision for the downtown following the analysis of existing conditions. 4 plan themes and 14 plan principles were established, which are as follows: live well, move safely, attract strategically, and grow smart. And we'll get more into those during the review criteria analysis. No public comments have been received to date. And then the other department comments have been provided. Community and Economic Development Department has stated, while we appreciate the philanthropic efforts and community engagement our House ministries wish to provide to those in need within our community, locating a charitable nonprofit on Central Avenue would be regressive to the economic development initiatives that are currently being undertaken downtown. There is currently a saturation of charitable organizations in and around Central Avenue, and economic development is working to attempt to increase market rate residential and mixed use opportunities within our urban core. Police Department has stated, while the services offered could be helpful to those in Middletown, the location in the city's downtown core is not desired. Getting into review criteria analysis, I will not go through each of the review criteria. I will leave that up to you during your deliberations, but I will provide a brief analysis of each. Looking at the first criteria, staff does concur. The second criteria, staff does not concur. The proposed use is not in alignment with the downtown strategic plan, as it does not further the desire to be an event destination or fully activate the space. The third review criteria, staff does not concur. The use-specific standard only permits accessory functions of a fraternal, charitable, or service-oriented club, such as a restaurant, bar, swimming pool, etc., and prohibits the primary use of the subject parcel to conduct business as proposed by the applicant. The fourth criteria, staff does not find this to be as applicable as others. The fifth criteria, staff does not concur as permission of the proposed use would be in direct conflict with the use-specific standard. Looking at the sixth review criteria, staff does not concur. The downtown's existing businesses are commercially oriented, furthering the attract strategically and grow smart plan themes in the downtown strategic plan. The proposed use is neither a desired primary or related secondary use established in the adopted plan. Looking at the seventh review criteria, staff concurs based on the information provided in the application and supported documentation. Eighth criteria, staff concurs. However, based on the application, the lack of utilizing the space 5 days a week impedes additional traffic downtown, opposite of the current city efforts to revitalize and activate Central Avenue, Main Street, and storefronts in general. Staff does find concurrence with the ninth review criteria. Staff does not concur with the 10th review criteria, and staff does not find the 11th review criteria to be as applicable as others. The additional criteria and conditions are on the screen, as well as the time limit and appeals process. As for staff recommendation, based on the information provided in the applicant's submission, staff does not recommend approval of the application as it would be in direct conflict with the spirit, purpose, and intent of downtown, or the Middletown Development Code, Destination Middletown, and Downtown Strategic Plan. And that'll conclude my staff report.
Thank you. Do we have any questions that can be directed to staff at this time? No? No. Very well. We'll move forward with the public hearing. If there is anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application, please come forward, be sworn in, and identify yourself.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this commission will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. And one at a time, please, and identify yourself, ma'am.
So hello, I'm Ashley Miller, and I am the Executive Director and founder of Our House Ministries. And I am just here tonight really thankful to be in the city of Middletown. This has been a process of mine, just getting to know the city of Middletown and the residents and the supportive services that are already happening in the town now for about the last 3 years, and really trying to decipher if this is the calling that I'm supposed to fulfill. And I really, over the last 3 years, have felt that it is something that I'm supposed to do, and it's something that the city would benefit from. So in doing outreach services and meeting other, like I said, community supportive services in the city, I found that, yes, there is a lot of great services that happen in the city of Middletown, but what I found would be beneficial for the city that we can provide to the city is just that more rehabilitative supportive style services. So we already operate in Dayton as well as do some outreach in some other locations. And so what we do in Dayton looks different than what we would do in Middletown because of the supportive services that Middletown already has. What we really capitalize on is taking women, right? And so we specifically do our outreach and our ministry to women. So we really take women of all categories of life and all levels of vulnerability and all levels of need, and just really work one-on-one with that woman to build her independence and to build her support and to build her into everything that she is called to be. So we really are very personal with our clients. We are very one-on-one with our clients. We offer not only supportive services at the front level, but then we also offer GED classes and job readiness training. And I am degreed in occupational therapy, which is all about building independence back into the person. I am not about leaving people where we find them. I'm about taking them at whatever level they are. I mean, maybe I've got multiple degrees in occupational therapy and psychology, and then obviously in some drug and alcohol counseling, but I really care about the individual person, building that person. We've seen thousands of people in our Dayton location change their lives and come out of where they were at and build their lives into stronger, more sustained members of our community. And I know that that's the goal, and Middletown does a fabulous job at their downtown area. We only want to enhance that downtown area. I mean, we have a plan to put $50,000 worth of renovation into a spot that I'm renting just to beautify the space. We have a program called the RISE program, where that's GED and job readiness, and the women that we serve and the women that come alongside of us, they take their GED classes there, and we've got an educator that comes in and teaches all of that for free. None of this is of any cost to anybody that wants to come in. And not only that, but I say that because I think we'll revitalize downtown, because part of that RISE program is the job readiness part, and we have a small micro business called Rooted in Restoration where we grow plants, and so eventually that can become part of a retail spot for downtown and the Friday night, the first Friday gatherings that you have and those types of things. So we really want to be a part of downtown. We want to open our doors and welcome a lot of different people in, and so even though we serve women just through the days, if there's the Friday night gatherings, or we want to be a part of networking in downtown, because our space will be so phenomenal. We've talked to some other people downtown Middletown that have spots, and I have a part of the women of Middletown, and they're like, well, we'll gather at our spot and we'll have a monthly meeting at our spot. So it's not only just what we do there, but we want to open it up and network to other community members as well. So any questions for me? And then yeah.
I'm just curious about why only twice a week? Is it because you have other locations?
Well, and
that you
that's
serve?
just to get started. So that's just to kind of see what the need is. And so right now, yeah, operationally, that is what we have seen be effective, and because that gives us time. Now, operationally, we will be in this space itself 2 days a week, but if we find that supportive services are needed throughout the week as well, so we do a lot of let's help get you transportation, maybe, because a lot of times the clients wouldn't have transportation, because again, we're rehabilitating, we want to build that healthy independence back in them, but a lot of times that would be involved in getting to a doctor's appointment or getting to a mental health appointment or those types of services. And so throughout the week, those times through volunteers or people would be able to happen. So we want to allow time for appointments.
Have you reached out to the other, which yours is all women, but in that direct vicinity, there are two other supportive services, one on Central, farther west, and then behind where you're located, off of Clinton, there is another.
Yes.
Have you spoken with them about
I have. So I have not the one further down on Central. I have tried to reach out to them and get a hold of them. I just haven't been able to connect with them. However, the one behind us, we have, and yes, I am familiar with them. They are, and I have actually, like I said, gotten to know, because I thought, well, maybe I would just come and support the work that's already being happened, but I've seen the need for the specialized care.
Are you also aware that there is a women's shelter?
Yes, and I have visited the Hope House and met with them, yes, and as far as like being able to come alongside of them and assist them, so they're women, that's a unique, obviously shelters and day centers are but yes, I have, and I've taken the tour, and it's an absolutely phenomenal location, but yes, I've met.
And I only say that because prior there were services in there, and because we're trying to change downtown, to not take away, but to change what's actually offered in there. I think they're focusing both on day and nightlife. That prime location kind of, it's not a conflict, it's just that those services, could be utilized, I think, directly within the communities versus on the strip. And maybe looking at some of those other areas to where the people are gathering at, instead of adding a third one in that direct vicinity.
Sure.
I guess that leads me to another question. Is there anything special or particular about this location that made you want to pursue this at this spot versus elsewhere in town, or?
I prefer to be, again, because if the clients that tend to need the resources sometimes have a difficult time getting to where they can get the resources, then they tend to give up. And I don't want anybody to give up. And so as a matter of fact, I want to only strengthen. And so I understand that there are supportive services, and I understand that downtown has a plan and a vision. I also know what we do, and I know the statistics of what we do. And so that particular location was appealing to me because of the location.
I work in this field, so that's why.
Okay.
So that, but yeah, I mean, and it makes sense, but I just think if maybe you also speak to some of the other supportive services. There's a few that, and they're not far by, because what you're speaking is a lot of our population, because of transportation, is in that area, but just not on that strip. So just maybe looking at some of the other, are you willing to look at some of the other sites, not directly on Central, but away? Because your services sound to be needed in our community, just maybe not in that direct vicinity. Something, I mean, looking.
It is, and again, with the outreach that I have been a part of here for about the last year and a half, and I have worked with the Middletown Police Department and went out on the side-by-sides with Victoria, and did a lot of that work, and I got to visit some of the different camps and the different locations, and we've looked at other locations as well, and this is a rental property, and so yeah, my desire is to really place roots here in Middletown. So a rental property isn't probably the end plan, but it is the right now get established, get to know people, get to meet people, and hit the ground running.
Have you been in communication with any other supportive services, like similar operations that support women on South Main Street? I'm just wondering.
No, South Main. So I know that I'm not real familiar with South Main, I apologize, but so the organizations that I have met, I know that there are some recovery housing, there are, then there's the gathering, and then but from what and then the Dream Center, and so I'm not sure which on South Main you're speaking of.
The Yellow House on like 800?
No, I don't think so.
But there is other organizations, like we do have a brand new one, it's called Empower Her. That is a new one. Have you spoke with those young ladies?
I have. They actually came over, and when they visited our space, I met them first through Women of Middletown, but when they visited our space, she really was excited about our space as to be able to bring her clients there to get services at some level.
And from a logistics standpoint, 2 days a week, what would you, since there's no overnight housing, you're not offering overnight
No.
accommodations, what are your hours, since you provide services that maybe extend throughout the entire day, what would you expect your hours to be?
My initial thought is 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., somewhere around there, 9 to 5, depending upon appointments. Again, I want to operate this and this would be my primary office space as well. So I want to operate this, and so that might be some of those other days a week as well. But my initial thoughts is the office hours, the 9 to 5, so we can schedule appointments and actually try to establish a plan in people's life.
How do your clients find you? By what referral services, or how are they referred to you?
Through word of mouth, honestly, like, or I go, or they're clients we've already met, or they're in Empower Her. They're already, they have a need, and we want to be established in the city as a resource for people that have needs. And so that's kind of, but it does start kind of word of mouth initially.
I have a question, but I think this may be better directed at staff, if that's fine. In the review criteria analysis, in the section where you don't concur, at the very end, you mention conduct business as proposed by the applicant. Is that because this is proposed office space?
Yeah, because the primary use would be that charitable organization, not really what essentially the code is looking for in terms of what you think of people going to the Eagles for these days. It's a bar or a restaurant or whatever it may be. That's what is desired, rather than this is the primary conduct of business as where people are going to receive these supportive services. It's used as an office space where all those uses essentially are, it's a charitable organization.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clarify that there wasn't like two parallel things being talked about here. Yeah, thanks.
I'm Wesley Miller. I'm her husband, but also have helped her with all the works that she's doing. Just to maybe shed a light on some other viewpoints or understanding. It's so other than what she does that there's not a lot of it that you can point to and say, oh. So that's why it's more important to try to explain what happens. Just a few months ago, she was given the award, the Jim of Dayton Award, for the impact that she's made in the city. She's in a place called Hope Zone, and it's completely turning it around. I wouldn't want to say it's one person's efforts, but one person's determination to transform, instead of being a problem area, a solution, and progress and change and strength and stability and support and independence. So when you go into her facility, it's like a 5-star spa, because immediately they want to build the value of whoever they're talking to. This is not a soup kitchen. This is not a government place. This is a very nice, posh place that most people that walk in have never been in. So nice. And so that's why she would pour $50,000 into a renovation for a rental space, because the whole aura of what you experience when you walk in and experience that, wow, I'm being brought up to a new level. She's found that when she brings things to another level, people rise to the occasion, and she doesn't have occurrences. She doesn't have situations or issues. She's reached in just the last couple of years 5,000 women, and she doesn't expect that kind of volume here. What she does want to do is help people establish independence, stability, and the next step. If I had to give her a definition, it would be a life coach, because she goes into a place and says, this is where you're at, what's the next step forward? And lest we would think it's a bunch of people that are just like lost their minds and, that it's just another form of a homeless shelter or something like that. That's not what she does. She goes in and literally specifically because of her background and not only in occupational health, which is getting people, occupational therapy, which is getting people into independence. And she's done that both in the school system as well as in the hospital world, and also with the behavioral issues with her psychology background. She's very versed in reading people and helping them get through where they're going to go and what they're going to do. So she's also got all the qualifications behind her, licensed clinical dependency counselor. She's able to understand people where they're at. And if the problem is loneliness, she's got a plan for a lonely person. If the problem is vulnerabilities of domestic violence, she's got a plan for that. And interestingly enough, where she's wanting to be, across the street's a bar, next, and one side is a vape shop and a smoke shop, and the other side is a fabric shop. It's definitely not going to pull down anything where she's at. If anything, it's going to help uplift everything, because it's not in a kind of a critical way or a judgmental way. It's in a, let's beautify this place. Let's beautify the city. Let's beautify the woman. Let's beautify the people, so that there is a level of strength that's happening. We are not problem feeding. We are problem solving. We are like people that come in and say, what can be done to take this to another level, to another place? And so really that's what she does. That's what she does everywhere she goes. The way she presents herself here is the way the center is presented constantly. The people that work under her and work with her and work for her understand that that's the heart of the thing, is building value and building worth. And if, you know, when we talk about the other services, it's wonderful that people that need showers can go down here and get showers. It's wonderful that people need food can go over here and get food. That's not what she's looking for, because there's already things like that here to do that. She's looking at building the person and building the people. And a lot of the times it is a matter of they don't have a high school diploma. Well, let's get you a GED. That's why she offers GED classes. She has something that she calls the RISE program, which is job readiness. She helps them how to go through interviews, how to present yourself well, how to even look the part, how to talk the part, how to act the part. And then our house itself actually takes women that may not have the vocation, and they will actually begin to learn through this micro business, which she allows with the plants, not only how their life is being restored, but also how you're restoring these plants, so that actually brings a smile on somebody else's face. So they care for those things like, you know, like it's their kids or something. And so that mentality change that women come in with, and wherever the level they're at, what's the next step? What can we do to help? They not only come out of any problems or they get problems solved, but they turn around and then they're a help to the society to become more the solution, not the problem. And so if we had seen that over a short time, it'd be one thing, but we have seen it now for a strong period of time. To know the our house difference, and that's what I would say. What's the our house difference? The our house difference is beautify. The our house difference is posh. The our house difference is things like we've never seen before come into a region that produces people that we've never seen before because of the advancement. So yeah, I just know that that's not only who she is, that's what she's been doing, that's what the ministry that she's a part of has been doing. And it's the whole person. We don't just go in there and look just from a spiritual angle. We don't just go look from just a social level or just a physical level. All those things are important to productivity. And so that's where I think she finds her difference is she's not coming in just hoping to make a difference. She really is schooled. She's very well prepared to make that difference. And I know that anything I've seen her take, it's like King Midas's touch. It turns to gold. I've never seen her take something and become a failure at it. I've only seen her become a great accomplished person at whatever she tackles. And she doesn't tackle everything. She knows her place. And so this is what she knows she can do and will do. And, you know, it's only a matter of a very short time before the benefit of that hits the city of Middletown. And that's not just me talking out of my words. I got the card at my home from the mayor of Dayton calling her the Gem of Dayton, the newspaper coming out and saying, "This, we've never seen anything like this." I've seen the television cameras have come and done multiple interviews. Like, what are you doing? What's the difference? There's something changing. You have brought change to these people. And it's one thing to have the outside people in, but when the inside people are the ones telling it, that's when you know it's not just talk. It's actually changed lives and changed hearts and even just productivity. You know, I've seen her take people from very hard situations and get them out of that situation and get them into a whole lot safer scenario. And so, you know, she calls it vulnerabilities because it's not just something for this problem or this issue or that. Was what's making you vulnerable? And let's work on reinforcing you and strengthening you so that you're not so vulnerable. And so anyway, I recollect one of the very first ladies she ever met. I remember her helping the lady, and she had been a children's hospital RN nurse, but through a series of events, she was devastated in life, and she was traumatized by a husband that was physically abusive to her. And he had abused her so bad that she ended up having some mental problems from brain trauma. And so when Ashley began to talk with this lady, here's an RN that is very together in so many ways. But when she began to help her, and then she began to find out that on her back was all kinds of scars, that she had been beaten almost to a traumatic spot. And that's where she began with this lady, was finding out, okay, I know where you're at, but how did that happen, and where are you at now? Now what do you need to do next? And I just watched that over and over and over, and I'm like, from the first person that she met, that you would not see that looking at them coming at you. But it was dug deep down of things that need to be done to help this person out of their vulnerabilities. And not only did I see her get this person out of a abusive scenario and situation, but I saw her get her stabilized, and a lot of other things that needed to happen in her life to move forward so that she felt better about her life. And that's just what I see over and over and over. And, I know from the times that we've went around in this side by side with the police department, and they took us in all these other places in Middletown. One in particular, we got out and about 20 women come running up to her, and literally counted 20 women coming out from the nooks and the crannies. That was like, because there's just something that happens with her when she gets out and talks to people. And one by one, it's like, what is this? I've never seen this. I don't understand that I need this. And so the need's there. The need is there. It's not even just a certain profile type. I'm just saying, wherever women are, wherever the vulnerabilities of women are, I think Ashley can make a huge step towards strengthening and bringing stability to that region and to that area. And if I didn't think there could be that much of a change, I certainly wouldn't try to press it. But that's what I want to say.
This may sound extremely strange. I had a speaking engagement tonight that started at 7. I really wanted to wait, and then we got into, so I am going to have to leave. He could speak. I have my friend here. Her and her husband are doctors in our area, and they work with us as well. But I want to tell you, I'm going to have to run out. Thank you for your time and your consideration, and bless you.
Yeah, and I'll be glad to take any questions. She
Thank you,
had
Ms. Miller.
a date scheduled in Springboro to a women's group. So, but anyway.
Do you have any questions?
No questions, sir.
No? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application, please come forward, be sworn in, and identify yourself.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this commission will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And identify yourself, ma'am,
I'm Marilyn Palmer.
and you have to speak into this.
Okay. I'm Marilyn Palmer, and I work with Ashley at our house. I have a full-time job as well. One of the things that I find it has done for our community is made it a safer place. I live in the suburbs, not in the downtown. And ordinarily, I would be very uncomfortable walking down Main Street in Dayton, Ohio. But because of this facility and the type services they offer, it has brought it up a class. And so I am no longer uncomfortable walking the street in Main Street downtown because I know some of the women, I know it's not that unsafe. And I have also seen a number of other women that I have brought with me become comfortable in that downtown area because we know it's patrolled by the police. We know that we have people inside that are safe, and it has brought a facelift to the community. So you will be drawing people like myself to the area who will gradually become comfortable being there. And so when you do get businesses and that sort of thing in that area, you're going to have a much more comfortable environment for people to frequent And there won't be that fear of, oh, it's Main Street, we don't go there. So you do have a stigma just like we do, and that can be broken, but it has to be broken through relationships. And I find that happening every day at our house. So it's exciting that we have this opportunity to help these women develop into the women that they can truly be. Any questions?
Do you have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's anyone else wishing to speak in favor, please come forward, be sworn in, and identify yourself. Having no response, we will move forward. If there's anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application, please come forward, be sworn in, and identify yourself. Having no response, I will now close the public hearing and we will move to deliberation.
I think it sounds like a really nice program that they've got, but what we need downtown is more commercial businesses. And that's what the strategic plan calls for.
I would agree. I commend Mr. and Mrs. Miller, and I forget your name, I'm sorry, but for the noble work you do, I think that's great. I believe that your church or this operation is effective. I think you do make a difference. I believe you when you say that. And I hope that you will be in Middletown. But I'm not sure if Central Avenue is the right place for that. I understand your guys' point that you are creating consumers. You are lifting people up and creating potential consumers downtown, but what the plan calls for is to bring these consumers downtown. That's the immediate focus. And if we're sticking to the comprehensive plan, I think that's what we're called on to do today, in my opinion.
If I may just speak a minute on urban space, especially in a historical, in a space that has been developed in a historical pattern such as downtown. The bottom floor spaces there are rich with a history of different uses that have come and gone through them. That is the essence of the Main Street style approach, right? Is the flexibility. I definitely understand what the plan is calling for, and I agree with the need for more commercial, but I don't think that should preclude us from accepting people who are eager to make a difference, not in just the social terrain, but in the terrain of the built environment through investing capital into these buildings that could use a lot of love. So I'm rather torn on this one with that in mind.
If I may, I'd be interested to hear Ms. Ramsey, you working especially kind of within this realm. I would be interested to hear some of your thoughts on the matter.
So, and I guess the thing is, there is a need. My only problem is, and I forgot, there's even another business that does similar services that literally is in that direct vicinity. It is near the bus line, which a lot of our people who don't have transportation get it, but Middletown is a bus access for transport. I just feel like on Central is not a good location, and that's my conflict. I'm on Central twice a week. For the other services, I think it's too many close together. Just looking at maybe one of the other areas, doing a study of where they may be to where you can have better access. That location to me also may be smaller, and I think the services they're speaking of may be provided in a bigger setting to be able to be comfortable to do a one-stop shop in a sense. So that's why I was also thinking maybe somewhere off of Central or away from Central. And it's not a business, but it is a nice place to be accommodating. But the commercial side is what I'm looking at and keeping that there to not disrupt that. I understand, you know, the people, the bars and that may draw, but I think that's it. They're bumping heads, and I don't want to mix or mess with any woman's or any person's journey by putting them on Central when I know what we're trying to get. That we're focusing more on the nightlife and, you know, some day places, but we are really heavily focused at this time getting Central to develop on a different realm. And I just think that mix is not great. To provide social services, you want them to feel comfortable. And I think there is other locations in our city, and I think if they just speak to some of the other people, they will, you know, kind of see there is plenty of businesses that it can go into that are reachable for the people that's needed, and I think it definitely needs to be utilized here. We have the need, I just think we don't. That location is not a great one.
I really appreciated your previous comment on needing these services in the neighborhoods as well. So I think that's just worthwhile to mention on its own.
Will Parsons as the person, anytime we see any sort of charitable, faith-based or otherwise group that is advocating for the citizenry of Middletown, especially those most vulnerable, those most needing help, I am overjoyed to see people wanting to come to town. As a lifelong resident, I know that there are so many people every day here that do need help and would benefit greatly from those who can provide it. By all accounts, from what we've heard from the testimony tonight, it does sound like the applicant would be able to provide a great benefit to our community, and I applaud them for the work that they have done in their existing community up in Dayton. That being said, Will Parsons, as the chair of the commission, as I previously stated with other cases, I think it's important that we stay within the code. It is not to say that I am not in support of seeing this business come to town, but I would echo that I think that it is perhaps just not the right location and would want to see it somewhere else. That being said, I am extremely torn. I admire the work being done. It hurts me as an individual to have to make kind of analytical decisions such as this, but because of the way the code is written, I think that needs to be supported, and for that reason, I would not be in favor of approval, but regardless, I would implore the business owners to please keep doing the work they are doing, and would also implore them to continue to pursue doing so in our community. Do we have any other comments?
Just in full agreement with what you said.
If there's no other comments, then I will go ahead. I will make a motion to deny this application.
If I may
Please.
addend just a little, I was looking in terms of denial at criteria 3 and 5, if those are interest to you to add to your motion.
Can you pull those?
I think they're already on the screen here, yeah.
Yeah, that was,
Two?
Two.
I think 2 is the first and foremost for me, but I'll amend my proposal to deny based on 2, 3, and 5. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Parsons,
Yes,
to deny?
correct.
Mr. Mentel?
Yes to deny.
Mr. Daniel?
Yes to deny.
Mr. Cash?
Yes to deny.
Ms. Ramsey?
Yes to deny.
Mr. Shaneline?
Yes to deny.
All right, that brings us to the final public hearing of the evening. This is a conditional use request by applicant Day Trailer Rental on behalf of property owner AAM Properties LLC to utilize 2835 Cincinnati Dayton Road for machinery and heavy equipment sales, leasing, and storage. Ms. Benninger, if you could please take us through the case.
Absolutely. I do want to note this was publicly noticed for both parcels, but upon receiving a site plan from the applicant, which was included in your staff packet, we're just looking at the northern parcel where the star is at. All right, getting into site description and surrounding conditions. So the tract size in total, so for both parcels, it is 3.4084 acres. I do not have the acreage of that parcel included in the staff report. As for frontage, there is approximately 450 feet of street frontage along Cincinnati-Dayton Road. And again, I do not have the specific street frontage just for that northern parcel in the staff packet. The topography is generally flat. The existing use at the structure is a commercial use, a bridal store. This property is Zone B3, as is the surrounding parcels, and around the subject parcel you'll see existing heavy commercial and existing just general commercial uses as well. For property history and description, the property contains a 14,848 square foot primary structure that was built in 1978, which last sold in 2011. Reading the purpose statement of that B3 zoning district, it is to provide for intense commercial and office development in close proximity to the interstate and high volume streets that can provide needed goods and services to the residents of the city, region, and beyond. Such district is most appropriately located adjacent to freeway interchanges and along major streets. So getting into staff analysis, the applicant proposes to use the property as a professionally managed trailer, rental, and leasing business with organized outdoor car hauler trailers for short-term rental to contractors, homeowners, and other commercial customers. Machinery and heavy equipment sales, leasing, and storage use type is defined in Chapter 1230 as any building or land used for the display, sale, storage, or leasing of new or used machinery, heavy equipment, semi-trailers, etc., that are in operable condition and where no repair work is done. There are no use-specific standard for this use type currently. So looking at our comprehensive plan land use map, the subject property is located within that regional and mixed-use land use category, which is defined as primarily commercial uses that cater to the I-75 traffic, and the regional market with secondary uses that include office, medical, service, and residential. This is also in the city's Crossroads development opportunity area. Getting into public noticing, no comments have been received to date via phone or email, and there are no additional comments from other departments at this time. As for review criteria analysis, running through these quickly without reading the actual review criteria. The first one, staff does concur, as well as with the second review criteria. Staff does not find the third, fourth, or fifth review criteria to weigh as heavily as others. Staff does find concurrence with the sixth review criteria, as well as the seventh review criteria based on the information provided in the application and supporting documentation. As for the eighth review criteria, it is unknown. A detailed site plan showing a proposed setup of the inventory has not yet been received with the application. Staff does concur that the ninth review criteria is met. And staff does concur that the 10th review criteria is met, but does note as Planning Commission should require additional landscaping requirements on the north and western edges of the utilized site to improve the subject property. And staff does find the 11th review criteria to not be as applicable as others. The additional criteria and conditions are on the screen, as well as the time limit and appeals process. As for staff recommendation, based on the information provided by the applicant's submission, should Planning Commission move to approve the application, staff recommends the following conditions be included in the approval. Applicant install buffering on the northern and western edges of the areas used for the outdoor display consistent with buffer type C, options 1, 2, or 3, identified in table 1216-3 in the Middletown Development Code. Applicant install landscaping at the base of the existing sign consistent with the regulations set forth in chapter 122008 D6 of the Middletown Development Code. If any exterior lighting is added, a signage plan shall be submitted to the city to review for compliance with Chapter 1208 of the Middletown Development Code. And applicants submit a detailed site plan to the city with the certificate of zoning compliance application. That will conclude my staff report.
Thank you. Are there any questions that can be directed to staff at this time?
Just several months ago, we had this same site before us for automotive sales, correct?
The use never commenced. A certificate of zoning compliance was never applied for to commence the use, I should say.
Do we understand that the application, I think you made this clear, the application only is for the property north of the building? That is the 14,000 plus square foot building?
Yes.
So how does, I mean, the applicant, if the applicant's here, is the building crucial to the operation of the business, or do you know?
I will let the applicant answer that.
Thank you.
It used to be a drive-in theater,
I know it did, Starglow.
so the back end is just an empty lot.
But there's a bit, but my there's a building there on the front lot. There's in fact,
It has an existing business in it.
Memories
Yeah.
Bridal. Memories Bridal was one of the stores.
Yes.
There was a bourbon
Is
shop.
is his, well, in the applicant, there does appear to be, well, there is a small extension of the building that is in that particular parcel.
Yes. Again, I would definitely encourage the applicant to speak.
Good, thank you.
Do we have any other questions that can be directed to staff at this time?
As far as this pertains to the comprehensive plan, seems to be a little bit of conflict there.
So if you look at our comprehensive plan, the future land use map, you'll see it's broken out kind of almost in line with our current zoning map districts. I would say the regional mixed use is very much so in alignment with the B3 zoning district. So what you'll see is industrial, essentially where you see Cleveland Cliffs, along Oxford State Road, et cetera. And those properties are zoned I-1 and I-2 in alignment. In my interpretation of the various future land use categories, regional mixed use does start to address the more business-to-business businesses that you'll see in our B3 zoning district.
Snyder Block is in there, I believe,
Yes.
and the schools, the school system's
Yes.
new bus garage is just to the south of that on the same side of the Cincinnati-Dayton.
Yep.
So it does
Sunbelt.
appear to be,
Yeah.
and there's a mulch and
Tri-state.
dirt company across the street, so it
Not
appears
to
be
mention, there's,
Behind
exactly, behind it, there's shipping container storage, where I assume the drive-in used to be.
Yeah.
I just want to, whenever I make decisions here or provide my vote, I'm always trying to be close adherence to the comprehensive plan. It's kind of like the Bible.
Absolutely.
So I'm just worried that if the Crossroads Development Opportunity Area and the vision for that, if this gets in the way of progress towards that goal, I don't want to do that, but
Right.
I understand a situation where this applicant and the use matches what's around there now, and like maybe it's just not feasible to do.
I have something to contribute to this discussion, but
Do
I
we,
think it is
do
better
we want to
left for
get the applicant
deliberation.
up before we get into, yeah.
Thank you. I was trying to make the same point. Let's save it for deliberation.
So just to make sure, is there any questions as it pertains to this application that we can direct to staff before we move on to open up the public hearing?
I can address the opportunity area after.
I do think this is valuable comments and discussion, but it perhaps can wait until further through here. In which case, I will now open up the public hearing. If you are wishing to speak in favor of this application, please come forward, be sworn in, and identify yourself.
solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this commission will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do, yes.
Thank you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bill McLean. I'm the owner of Sunday Trailer Rental. I just want to give you a kind of a quick outline. I know it sounds like you got lots of questions, so I'll be fairly brief. But just a quick overview of what I'm looking to do. Basically, Sunday Trailer Rental is seeking conditional use approval to operate a small trailer leasing business at the 2835 Cincinnati Dayton Road property. Basically, I think in a nutshell, the use fits the B3 district, as staff report kind of pointed out, and it aligns with the corridor's existing commercial character down there. In fact, I'll say, there's a somewhat similar business about a mile and a half up the road. You may be familiar with, probably driven by there lots of times. The area that we are in is kind of heavily industrial. Mine is, I know it was described as heavy machinery or machinery and heavy equipment. I kind of laugh when I hear that, to be honest with you, because I'm dealing with is probably more of what I'll call light to medium duty trailers. Dump trailers, utility trailers, car haulers, equipment trailers, that sort of thing. I know I've heard you ask a lot of times tonight why this property. So I'll address that now. This property in particular meets the needs of my business, one, because of the large parking area. That's hard to find. That is a very difficult thing to find within the city, to find a parking area that's located in a high capacity traffic area, and it's located in this contractor corridor here between Monroe and Middletown. And there's just a ton of contractor traffic and other businesses located down there already. I think that my business is going to create a synergistic effect with some of the businesses that are down there, some of them that you mentioned previously with the landscaping place, Snyder Brick and Block, several of those businesses that are located around there. Another one is Sunbelt Rentals, which is 3 or 4 doors down. Again, something that our business can work, a lot of synergism with those businesses to help increase, the business they're doing as well as our own. So that's something that we think is going to add a lot of value to the area as a whole. As far as fitting in, I know you had a question about that, sir. I'll try to address that. I know it was mentioned the area is much more industrial really than what my business does. My business is going to be a very low impact, probably, maybe 5 to a dozen visitors a day, by appointment to come in and pick up trailers and roll out. It's that simple. Much less so impact than, say, the businesses that are located, immediately around me. There's a truck parking place. You mentioned it right behind there. I've been in here doing a lot of work in the building, and I'll talk about that too. I see the traffic that's going on out here. There is a lot of activity going on around there. Trucks in and out of those places, the landscaping place, Tri-State across the street, tons of traffic, Sunbelt. Another beautiful thing about this property for my business is the proximity to AK Steel or Cleveland Cliffs. The contractor entrance is right around the corner, so that's very helpful for not only for my business but for those businesses that work within Cleveland Cliffs as well, because we provide a service that I think many of them are going to value and utilize at a very high level. So that's why I selected this property in particular. I'll answer your question about the business or the building. We do have a small footprint in the building. We have about a 650 square foot office area. It's basically just customers come in, do the paperwork to rent the trailer and out again. So it's just a small footprint there in the office. But it does utilize some, an otherwise, heavily underutilized building. There's currently 2 other tenants in the building, including the bridal shop, as well as Rect, a company that does some sort of drone business as well. What we've worked out with the owners of the property was to utilize that north end of the property, so we don't interfere with any of their, the business, mainly employees and customers of the bridal shop. So we were kind of just focused on utilizing that north end of the parking lot. It's all already very well screened because of the, there's like a fence or a wall built around the north and the west side of that lot that kind of separates the property from between what is the old cinema property and the old drive-in property, which is now the truck parking service. So we think that those are pretty well covered. There's a little bit on the north end that we could do as far as landscaping, and I'm certainly happy to do that. I've included already in my package a plan to improve the landscaping around the memorial sign in the front of the building. If you've been by there right now, it's badly in need of some love. My plan is to completely tear that out, not the sign, but the landscaping, and completely redo the landscaping there, help beautify that area a little bit, because like I said, if you've been down there at all, the area is not the prettiest area in the world, just because of the nature of the businesses that are there. I mean, it is an industrial type area. So you've got that look. What I'm trying to do is to beautify that area, increase, the business in there, add value to the existing property that's otherwise underutilized. My business, I'm very particular, okay? So my plan will be, to utilize that north end parking lot for parking my inventory of trailers. It's gonna be very neatly parked, present a very professional appearance. I've got, a very professional sign package to be installed there. And, I think it'll improve the look of the area overall. I've talked to several of the business owners around there. They agree that, the business that I'm looking to start there is going to be of value, not just to them, but to their customers as well, and can help, like I said, create that synergistic effect, amongst the businesses that are existing in the area already. So, like I said, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. I hope I covered most of the things that you're thinking about already. Like I said, happy to answer any questions. With that, I'll turn it over to you for questions.
Ms. Benninger, could you pull up, if you don't mind, the staff recommendation that listed some of the kind of requirements, the conditions within there? I believe you sort of touched on this a little bit when you were speaking. Would you mind kind of touching on some of those, your thoughts on what has been presented here from staff?
Sure. So the first one about installing a buffering on the northern and western edges of the area. Like I said, there's currently about a 5 or 6 foot tall, basically wall that's around there that separates the two properties. Because the north side is basically the driveway into the trailer or into the truck's parking area, and then the back side is the actual truck parking area. So there's, like I said, there's a 5 to 6 foot wall there already. I don't know what I could do or what else I could do. I mean, I suppose I could plant some trees or something along there to soften that up a little bit. That might be, of value. I'm happy to do that if that's, perceived as necessary by the commission. That's certainly something we could do. Not a big deal. Pretty, very, very feasible. The only thing I would say is it's a very thin strip of grass between that fence and where the parking lot actually begins. And my only concern with planting trees there is as the trees grow, that they would continue to damage the parking lot with the roots and that sort of thing, as well as, grow into the neighboring properties that, I would have no ability to control, where the roots go. So I think, like I said, I'm happy to do, whatever we can do to soften that up. I would say, without my business there, with my business there, you're never going to see most of that because there's going to be trailers parked, enclosed trailers, like I said, dump trailers, all sorts of different, low, light to medium duty trailers parked along there. You're not going to be able to see most of that from the street anyways. That said, if I can do something to soften that up a little bit, I'm happy to do that. So I think we can move on to the next one.
It's sort of, I think, and I
Sure.
apologize to interrupt you. You did sort of, I feel at least, unless the board would disagree, the second bullet point, you did share with us your plans for beautifying the sign area.
Yes.
So I feel we've already kind of covered that bit. The second two with some of the potential applications or anything, is there anything there that you foresee that you would need to submit those? Any issues with that there?
So I guess I'm looking at the last one. Is that the one you're referring to?
3
Or
and
you
4.
still on 2? Okay, so the third one, at this point in time, I don't anticipate adding any additional exterior lighting. The parking lot is actually fairly well lit from the lighting that's in existence. So I don't anticipate doing that. And, in the future, if we do, obviously we'd have no problem with, complying with that, with the current development code. Absolutely not a problem there. As far as the last one, I don't see any problem with that at all. I don't know, what, I can talk with the city, but I don't know exactly what they're looking for, I guess, would be my thought on that, but I'm happy to comply with whatever, So, okay, thank you. Any other questions?
So I was going to say, Mr. Cash, you had questions about the inside portion of that
No,
building?
I think you answered it, because the northern part, there's a little extension off of the main building there, which appears to be inside the plat that you have submitted to the city.
Right, yes, sir. So that is actually part of one of the other current tenant called Rect. That is actually part of the property that they lease. I'm leasing. Can you pull the picture back up? So I've got a small 650 square foot office. Basically, if you look just to the south below the star there, where the very front of the building juts out in front of that additional piece that you're mentioning, sir, we are right on that corner. There's actually an entrance right there on the side of the building. We're right on that corner. So, any other questions?
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Sir.
If there's anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application, please come forward, be sworn in, and identify yourself. Having no response, we'll move right along. If there's anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application, please come forward, be sworn in, and identify yourself. Okay, having no response, I will close the public hearing and we will move to deliberation.
All right, so getting back to your question about our comprehensive plan. Our comprehensive plan has essentially two types of land use maps. One is the development opportunities area map, which is essentially 6 opportunity areas, I believe, that comprise the entire city. So it's almost like your regional way to look at those different pockets of the city. And then the future land use map then narrows it down further into maybe more of a neighborhood approach of looking at the various future land use designations for the city. So sometimes the future land use designation will point back to the development opportunity area for future land use designations. I include both for your reference. However, the crossroads is a pretty hefty chunk of the city. So within the development opportunity area, you'll find the future land use designations. Does that help?
Yeah, it does. It sounds to me like this is a perfect fit. So you did a great job describing how you're going to benefit this community and the area. Definitely see synergies there. So thank you for choosing Middletown. I think it's going to work for you, and appreciate you.
You guys are going to hear me say a sentence you probably won't hear me say very often. I'm not sure that we need the screening requirements here. I've been by the property, and it's what exactly is being screened, more of the like. I really like the term contractor corridor, stealing that. You get the credit. But it really is just more of the like. I delivered pizzas in Monroe, which included a large swath of contractor corridor for many contractors. So the people at that bridal place especially really liked I won't name the specific place I was delivering for, but they really liked there. So I've got a lot of experience driving in there, and I'm not sure with the use that is being proposed here that it's really necessary to put that burden of providing screening on there, especially I think it was specifically landscaping screening that was being suggested in the staff recommendation. So that's just my 2 cents on that.
This is coming from the not tree expert of the board.
Yeah, this is the tree enjoyer.
Very good. Do we have any other comments for deliberation?
It looks like a good use for the property to me.
I would agree. Can we pull up again, Ms. Vinegar, the recommendation? Thank you very much. You read my mind. Further, I'm going to make a motion for approval based off of, I believe it's number 6, is the fact that it's harmonious within the area. Does that sound correct? I should have double checked before we moved.
I've got ones marked as
Please.
1, 2, 6, 7, and 9 personally. Those were pretty much the ones that staff concurred with. So would you like to include 1, 2, 6, 7, and 9 in your motion?
I would make a motion to approve based on the review criteria 1, 2, 6, 7, and 9, requiring the bottom 3 bullet points, not including the requirement for the buffering.
I'd just add I think number 10 also was on there.
Oh, yeah, I missed that one. Well, it's your motion, your choice.
Yeah.
I have a question. Sorry to jump in here, but as far as the buffering and peeling that off of the requirements, it seems to me staff's intent was to begin upgrading this part of town so that it's not so much concrete and asphalt and chain link fencing. So I think there is a benefit to retaining that component of the staff recommendation.
I just feel like this particular site would not be conducive to the long-term health of the trees that would be planted there, and that any development that would improve it visually would be so comprehensive in nature that any trees that would be planted there would have to be torn down as a consequence of construction. I didn't include that in my reasoning, but when I put on my 10, 20 years down the line glasses on for this area, I just don't see any sort of redevelopment happening that wouldn't negatively impact any trees that are planted today. So that was why.
We should also, just to clarify, when we were talking about these buffer types, Ms. Vinegar, can you elucidate us on, we are talking about trees, but would this also perhaps include different types of bushes or shrubbery or other items that could perhaps be a better fitting there?
Right. So buffer type C is our lightest buffer option that we have. And then including options 1, 2, or 3, it provides the applicant 3 different options of what they want to submit to the city with a landscaping plan to install, one of which can include smaller trees with smaller plants in between, but it can include just lower landscaping as well. And yes, that is the intent of starting to add landscaping requirements, because as you've seen in the historic development pattern in the city, they haven't been required. So as we start to have conditional use applications come forward in furthering the beautification of the city, just because of what's next door does not preclude landscaping requirements elsewhere.
Sure. All right. Thank you for that. Want to thank you, Councilman Mulligan, for your thoughts as well. I will say based off of this, the further deliberation here, that I have been swayed, and so I would like to instead put forth a motion for approval based off of the existing review criteria listed, however, requiring all of the bullet points listed here per the staff recommendation.
I'll second it.
Mr. Parsons?
Yes.
Mr. Mintel?
Yes.
Mr. Daniel?
Yes.
Mr. Cash?
Yes.
Ms. Ramsey?
Yes.
Mr. Shaneline?
Yes.
All right. Thank you again to the applicant for answering our questions. Would encourage you to, as you move forward with, if there's any of these things that you do have some questions on, just be regular contact with our city staff, and I know they'll make sure everything is as it needs to be, so thank you. All right, that brings us to old and new business. First and foremost, do we have a motion to excuse Ms. Griffith from the meeting today?
All motion to excuse.
She provided notice beforehand.
Correct.
I'll second that.
Yes.
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 Very good. Ms. Benninger, is there anything else for order new business?
I do not have anything.
All right. Anybody else have anything for inclusion? No? All right. Thank you all for your thoughts and good discussion. In which case, do I have a motion for adjournment?
Aye.
Second?
Yes.
So moved.
I don't know why I said so moved. I don't know. I'm sleepy.